This is one of the biggest and longest arguments in modern history, a fight that survived revolutions, destroyed empires, drained superpowers, and divided the entire world. For more than 100 years, capitalism and socialism were not just ideas. They were battle lines. This debate influenced patriotic speeches, worker uprisings, recessions, and even wars that IT shaped the world we live in today. But here's what no online influencer tells you. Neither system worked the way the textbooks said it would. Not once. Not anywhere. And whenever pressure came, war, famine, inflation, collapse, the truth became clear. Welcome to Financial Historian, where money, power, and history collide, and nothing is as simple as it looks. Our story begins long before anyone used the words capitalism or socialism. For most of human history, there wasn't really an economy at all. Life was about survival. Kings ruled everything. Landlords owned the land, and peasants worked just enough to stay alive. Progress was painfully slow. For thousands of years, life was a zero-sum game if someone gained. Someone else lost. Wealth came from land, labor, and war. The idea that normal people could get rich through trade or invention sounded impossible. Then the Industrial Revolution changed everything. In late 1700s Britain, new machines and factories created a huge shift. Private capital became a major force. For the first time ever, everyday people could invest, risk money, and own businesses at large scale. Productivity skyrocketed. Inequality did too. Cities became polluted. Children worked long hours. Slums spread. But one fact was clear. Capitalism created more goods and wealth than anything before it. This was when socialism was born not as a dream, but as a reaction to the suffering caused by early capitalism. Marx and Engels saw the harsh factory system and believed the entire structure was unfair and exploitative. They argued that workers should own the factories, share profits, and produce things for human need, not private gain. No exploitation. No booms and busts. Just fairness and planning. For millions of suffering workers, this felt like justice. But theory is easy. Real life is not. The first real test of socialism happened after an empire collapsed. In 1917, the Russian Revolution left the country starving and broken. The Tsar was gone. The new Soviet government had to build a whole new system. So they created one. The state owned everything. Prices were set by the government. Private business was banned. In theory, this would create fairness that in reality, it created confusion. Without prices, planners didn't know what people needed. Without competition, factories didn't innovate. Workers had no motivation. Shortages and long lines became normal. Lenin eventually allowed small private trade just to keep the country alive. Still, socialism remained attractive to many. Because capitalism wasn't doing great either to be why the early 1900s, it created growth but also huge instability. Monopolies ruled industries. The rich lived like royalty. Millions struggled to survive. Wealth was created, but not shared. This imbalance exploded in 1929 with the Great Depression, capitalism's worst crisis. Banks failed. Unemployment reached 25%. Entire countries went broke. To many, capitalism looked deadly. Socialism created equality, but also scarcity. Capitalism created prosperity, but also collapse. Then World War II changed everything. The Soviet Union mobilized its people quickly. State control helped it focus all resources on survival. Meanwhile, capitalist countries like the U.S. used innovation plus government coordination to become industrial giants. After the war, the world became a giant experiment. Soviet socialism versus Western capitalism. The Soviet bloc used strict planning. The West used regulated capitalism with safety nets. Millions lived through this experiment, and the results were dramatic. The USSR industrialized fast, improved literacy, and grew militarily, but the system was inefficient. Factories made useless products, farms failed, and innovation stalled. They could build rockets, but not good refrigerators. Capitalism adapted. It added regulations, safety nets, and protections. It became more stable. By the 1980s, the difference was clear. Western nations were richer, while the Soviet economy slowed. The USSR wasn't defeated by war, it was defeated by empty shells and broken incentives. A system designed to remove inequality created new elites, while normal people waited in long lines for food. Capitalism had outperformed socialism, but the story wasn't over. In the 1990s-2000s, capitalism changed again. Finance exploded. Global trade expanded. Inequality rose sharply. Economies depended on debt and speculation. This led to the 2008 crash, another reminder of capitalism's instability. The problems didn't disappear, they evolved. Meanwhile, socialism made a comeback in a softer, modern form: taxes, healthcare, free education, and unions. Look at Scandinavia. People call it socialist, but it's really a mix of free markets and strong social protections. They use capitalism with guardrails, high taxes, strong welfare, and private enterprise. Now look at the U.S., extremely innovative, but also unequal with weak public services. And China, the most unique model. It calls itself socialist, but it is really state-controlled capitalism. Even China faces problems: debt, housing bubbles, and slow productivity. The truth is simple. Every major economy today is a hybrid of markets and state power. Human nature doesn't change under systems. The systems change around human nature. In capitalism, greed drives innovation until it becomes exploitation. In socialism, equality brings unity until it kills motivation. In markets, wealth creates power. In planned systems, politics creates power. Different systems, same human tendencies. Capitalism survived because it adapted. Socialism failed where it refused to adapt. But socialism succeeded where it mixed with markets like Scandinavia and modern China. Capitalism prioritizes incentives. This drives innovation and progress. But it also creates inequality and instability. Socialism prioritizes equality, but loses efficiency and innovation. Without markets, information fails. Without openness, corruption grows. Everything we have today, safety nets, regulations, welfare, comes from this long fight. Neither system won. Both had to blend. But now, new challenges are coming. AI, aging populations, climate change, and global debt. Capitalism struggles with long-term planning. Socialism struggles with innovation. The winners will combine both systems smartly. The future will need private innovation plus public guidance, freedom with stability. History didn't choose capitalism or socialism. It chose whatever prevented collapse. Each generation must rebalance the system. The real fight was never capitalism versus socialism. It was always about control. Who hold the power? Because power never disappears, it just changes hands.